Hi, I'm Suzie McNeil, and I just released an album, and I am so excited to make my Toronto mic'd debut.
What up, Mike? Toronto.
That was so good, Suzie.
Thank you.
It only took us 8 takes, but we got it. Just kidding.
It was the apostrophe.
Welcome to episode 1930 of Toronto Mic'd, an award-winning podcast, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. Order online at greatlakesbeer.com for free, local, home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Visit palmapasta.com for more. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Catch a game at Christie Pitts this summer. No ticket required. Fusion Corp's own Nick Iones. He's the host of Building Toronto Skyline. And Mike and Nick, 2 podcasts that you ought to listen to. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, making her Toronto Mic'd debut, it is indeed Suzie McNeil. Hello, Suzie.
Hello, Mike.
Can I tell the people it took you a half an hour to apply lipstick, or is that something too personal to...
Okay, so I have a bag of lipstick, and there are a lot of colors in there, and it's all the same brand. So I was looking for my lipstick for half an hour. But I have a question.
How do you decide what color I'm going to get?
Well, no, it was more of the day and what I was wearing, although I forgot my shirt in my car.
Whoa, okay. People are going to be checking out this video for sure. So, Suzie, you, depending on what you're wearing or what vibes you're feeling, I'm just trying to understand,
yes.
And how many different colors
Correct.
do you choose from?
So there's red. I like a good red lipstick, but then there's like the one that I chose for today because it's more summery. It's a little brighter. It's more of an orangey red.
Yeah, it's an orangey red.
There's also like a bright pink that I'll do, but I thought, since I was meeting you for the first time, I wouldn't.
Do you know where you are? Yes, Suzie, do you know where you are right now? That's a legit question because you're a big deal. Everybody knows the name Suzie McNeil. We're going to talk about what's new. We're going to go back and talk about things that are old. But do you have any idea where you are right now?
I do. Yeah. I'm pretty solid. I'm always late, I would say.
You're a week late.
Yeah, I am. I'm a little flustered right now. Honestly, it was a lot leading up to our the album release. It's always a lot. And
Line 49.
Yes. Yeah. And I always lately I've been creating a lot of projects, and it's funny, the last rehearsal I had with my band, I was like, I have an announcement to make, guys. I'm going to stop making projects for a while. And they're like, yay! Because they're always having to learn. I keep creating all these new shows. So I had to intervene on myself.
Okay. I have many, many questions. We're going to dive into it. But before I go back, and I don't even know, we're definitely going to dive into line 49. I pulled a bunch of audio and stuff. We're going to get into all of it.
Awesome.
But do you have any questions at all for me before we get rocking here?
Well, I would like to know your whole past, but...
Okay. Well, we can spend an hour on that, and then we'll get to
I'll interview
Suzie McNeil. Well, I would do that episode, but that would be like a sequel. You come back and you interview me. Do you want to beg for my forgiveness? Because I was literally this is you ready? Gonna make you feel emotional, I think. But I knew Suzie McNeil was in my calendar last week, and I was all set up. So all the music's loaded in. I've got the notes. I'm excited. I'm going to meet Suzie McNeil. We're going to talk about her life and times. And I was outside looking for you. This is last week, okay? And I look, and I can't remember. I think it was at 11 o'clock we were scheduled for. And it was all locked and loaded with Chloe. It doesn't matter if people wonder who I'm talking about. We know who I'm talking about. And then I'm outside waiting, and then it got to be 11:01, and I'm like, oh, it's okay. She's coming from far away. She's coming from Spoonsville, and then it's 11:02. And then it's 11:05, and then it's 11:10, and now I'm thinking, where's Suzie? And I called up Chloe, and it turned out you just didn't even
Yeah.
try to make it here.
Yeah. So I did, but I blame perimenopause, but we're not allowed to blame that anymore because I feel like too many women are using that as an excuse. So it's little taboo. But I honestly, after I did look at my calendar, it was in it, and I thought it was a Zoom at 5 p.m.
Okay, so you're not even close on any fronts
No.
there. Because,
so I was ready to do it. And then I got into a car with my girlfriend. I didn't even drive because I would have probably turned around. I had my kid with me who's 8.
Okay.
So there was a whole thing. But I think what happened mentally is I was so busy. And then I went, okay, Canada, we played a big show on Canada Day. And then I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Right.
And that mentally. And then I said to Chloe, I feel awful.
Okay, good.
Please
Good.
don't tell him that I don't, I need to be punished and not do the interview, which would be my punishment. And
right.
she was like, no, he said to reschedule, but the shame was real.
Okay, I love the fact you think the punishment for me would be the punishment for you would be you don't get to make your Toronto Mike debut.
Yeah.
But that also punishes me.
Well,
because I was
don't know if
excited
that's true.
I was excited to be in your presence for at least an hour and to dive into all this, and I'd be depriving myself of that joy.
I think I'm enjoying this more than you are. So
we'll see. I think you probably got tipped off that I would give you fresh craft beer just for making the trek because you're going home. This is yours.
Oh, I didn't know that. See?
Yeah. This is from Great Lakes Brewery. The guys were just here from Great Lakes recording an episode of their podcast, Between Two Fermenters. But that's for you, Suzie McNeil.
Thank you. See, it's worth the drive to Etobicoke.
And are you willing to disclose where you came from?
Burlington, Ontario.
And I said to you, this is before I pressed record, I said, oh, the home of Rob Pruce. And you essentially said, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And I did 20 minutes on Rob Pruce.
And I do know the spoons, so I should know who Rob is.
Do you know Romantic Traffic?
I do.
Well, he co-wrote that song.
So he's rich.
Do you think, so you're a Canadian rock star. You know full well he's not rich for co-writing Romantic Traffic. Okay, I don't have to explain that to you.
No.
Couple of quick things, and then I want to go back before we get to the new album, if that's okay. But I just want to make sure you know I have a frozen lasagna in my freezer upstairs that was sent over by Palma Pasta for you to take home to Burlington and enjoy. Yeah, so that's an empty box, but the actual lasagna is in my freezer. So you get the lasagna from Palma Pasta. It's delicious.
Wow.
You got the beer from Great Lakes Brewery. It's delicious.
You are loved.
Am I?
By some serious companies.
Well, these are lovely I do legitimately love Palma Pasta food, and I legitimately love the beer at Great Lakes Brewery.
Yeah.
I'm not bullshitting you. And I love the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball I see at Christie Pitts. They sent over a book about the history of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball.
Oh my gosh.
And one last gift, a measuring tape from Ridley Funeral Home. They hope they don't see you anytime too soon, Suzie,
Yes.
but when it's time, the good people at Ridley Funeral Home will take care of you. So measure what you wish. What are you going to measure?
Thank you. Oh, lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
Not my hips.
Those hips don't lie. Okay, that's what's going on. I'll get to check out those. When we take our photo by Toronto Tree, I'll be checking out the hips. Okay, so Suzie, I don't know if you're bored of talking about this, but can we go back? Can I play something from back in the day?
Never bored about talking about myself.
Okay, well, good. You're in the right place. Here we go. Hold on.
Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun, but now I've gone and thrown it all away. Mama, I don't wanna die. Sometimes wish I'd never been born at all.
Suzie, tell the listenership, what are we listening to?
Bohemian Rhapsody on 2005's Rockstar INXS reality show.
I am curious, who was Suzie McNeil when you were on Rockstar INXS? And then we can maybe dive into your experience there, because I think that's the time when most of us discovered, oh, there's a Suzie McNeil and she can sing.
Yeah, for sure.
Who were you and how did you get on the show?
I was a young, aspiring singer. I was doing a lot, so when I went to Sheridan for music theater college, Sheridan College, and Humber College for jazz. I liked the programs, but I was like, all I want to do is do this, right? So I thought, you know what, I'll go back to school if I ever need to, and I'm going to try to pursue this music thing. And then I started to. So I made a promise to myself. I was filing taxes for my dad at the time.
Okay.
It was really boring.
As one does.
Yeah, he employed me to do that. And I was like, I got to get out of here. So I made a promise to myself that I would make a living singing. It didn't matter in what capacity. I just would. And that was 25 years ago, maybe more. And I have ever since. So that was sort of part of the journey. I was already, when I got Rockstar, I had already been in a couple bands. I was touring it for my money. I was touring in an ABBA tribute band. I had original bands going. I had made, a couple records with different projects and, always using the money from the ABBA band to support the original stuff.
Right.
And I knew a bunch of people in the biz by then. Like Jeff Healy had opened his bar in Toronto and I had played there a couple times. So my community was kind of like Toronto blues dudes, like older cats. And
can you just pause and tell me a little about your experience with Jeff Healy?
It was awesome. Like the funniest experience that I remember is he wanted to book me at the club and he called and, his low, beautiful, low voice. He was like, "Hey, Suzie, it's Jeff Healy." And then he asked me how much the band was. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And, there would have been 5 people in this band. I was like, "We could do it for $300. And he was like, "I'll give you 500." Like he was like,
wow, what a
he was like, "You're an idiot, you deserve more." And that just shows how naive I was at the time. But
wow.
But yeah, we played there and then I would get up and guest. I played a lot of shows at the time with Jerome Godbout, if anyone remembers him. He was in the Phantoms in the 90s. Amazing harmonica player. I learned my harp skills from him. So I was kind of in that community. And then I knew she's a journalist named Karen Bliss, and
she's been in this very basement.
Okay, yeah. So she is the one who called me about the Rockstar auditions. So they were going around the world, and they would they had producers who would reach out if they knew anyone in the cities to sort of gather up some good people to recommend, and Karen recommended me. So the auditions were at the Mod Club, and my boyfriend at the time was a guitar player, and we did Tell Me Something Good. Tell me something good. And I remember looking up in the balcony and seeing INXS, because it was Rockstar INXS. So For anyone who doesn't know, they were trying to find a lead singer for the band, the Australian band INXS. And INXS was up in the balcony, and then I could after my performance, they took a break, and both my boyfriend and I at the time were like, "I feel like you got that." Like I just kind of knew it. It was interesting, but
I'm still stuck on Karen Bliss playing such a key role in your origin story.
Yeah, you're right. I should be thanking her more.
I'm going to assign you homework. Okay, you don't have to do it on your drive back to Burlington, but at some point you have to listen to Karen Bliss on Toronto Mike.
Okay,
this is the homework I'm assigning you.
Oh,
okay?
It would be my honor.
Okay, I'm going to call you out on this. 6 weeks later, I'll be like, "Chloe, she never listened."
I'll be like, "Who is this?
Who's this again?" And yes, the lasagna guy.
I
was in this band's going to come up later. So I'm going to tease, because later when we talk about your new album, this band's going to come up. But I was in an elevator at Massey Hall. I was in an elevator with Glass Tiger. And Alan Frew looked at me, because I know we'll talk Alan Frew, but Alan Frew looked at me and said, "You're the lasagna guy." This is literally how he remembered me. I'm the guy he visited and I gave him a lasagna, and that's how he thinks of me, the lasagna guy.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll talk about Alan Frew and we'll talk about Glass Tiger more later. But okay, Karen Bliss says you should audition. You went to the Mod Club. Was the guy from Platinum Blonde there? Wasn't he involved in that? Is that Holmes? Is he involved? Okay, well, we'll move on from the Mod Club. I think he was a part owner or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But
probably.
you're auditioning for INXS because sadly we lost Michael Hutchence too soon, and they needed a new lead singer. And how do you get informed that you've made it to the show? Like, do you get a phone call? What's the moment like when you realize you did pass the audition?
Well, next it was kind of a process. So next there were a bunch of us. I can't remember how many. Let's say 20 or something, maybe more actually, because the people on the show, it was 15. But anyway, so there are a bunch of people chosen to be flown to LA for like the semifinals, I guess, to this hotel, the DoubleTree in LA. Okay. And the funny thing,
they make good cookies.
And yes, they do. Yeah. And it tracks with like, I'm a self-employed like contractor. I have to have a certain amount of organization skills, but like, further to me missing my interview, it like totally tracks that somehow I didn't realize, I didn't get the message that when we were in LA, we would be totally sequestered. So I packed my rollerblades because it was early 2000s.
Yeah, of course.
And I was like, I can't wait. I've never been. I'm going to, go to Venice Beach and all this stuff. And then I arrive, they bring me to my room and they're like, okay, so you're allowed out for meals and you're allowed to go to the gym for half an hour a day. And
it's like being in jail.
It was. So for 10 days, I was trapped in that room.
and you're rollerblading around the washroom. Okay, now I'm going to bring up a name now because she's become a good friend. She's been over multiple times. But Tara Sloan.
Yay.
So are you still friends with Tara Sloan?
Yes, I just saw her. So I don't know if we're jumping too far.
It doesn't matter. Like, I don't need to follow it too linear. Yeah. But when did you just see Tara Sloan?
It was the 20th anniversary of Rockstar INXS this past year. So right. I mentioned at the beginning I've been doing too many projects, so that would fall in that would segue in nicely, where I decided to, because I've been renting out theaters kind of all over and trying to be a producer as well and put shows in there and advertise and sell the tickets and create the show. And it's a whole big thing that I thought like I'm ready for this because sort of it's a step up. I've been doing it for so long. Why not dabble in that? Right. So I brought 5 of the contestants. I flew them up here, put them up, tour managed them, did the whole thing. And then created this like Rockstar reunion show.
You created this.
I did.
I didn't know it was you because Tara's been on talking about this.
Okay.
And I didn't know you created this.
Yeah, and I had an idea we'd do like kind of like this actually, like a round circle. Right. And I watched the whole series again and then did little clips of the videos and played them and went like, what were you feeling when this happened? Right. And we all performed. And so I put it into the Richmond Hill Theater and in Niagara Falls. But it was so much work that I was like, I'm never doing this again.
Right. Okay. You're doing this all year. Did you have help? Like
no.
That's quite the undertaking.
My manager helped me. He always helps me.
Okay, you get somebody helping you at least.
One person.
Well, listen, that's one more person than I have helping me, Suzie McNeil.
I mean, please. Right?
But I mean, that's a big undertaking. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home because their podcast is called Life's Undertaking. But I digress. But those are nice theaters, and like, so it's a great success, and you're like, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah. Well, then one of the executive producers, so Mark Burnett was one. He does The Voice. He did Survivor.
He's responsible for Donald Trump being in the White House.
Yes, I would say so too. But he's retired and he sold all his stuff to Amazon, so it doesn't matter. He's hiding.
I'm glad it's all in good hands.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all happy in his Malibu mansion. He's fine. So the other executive producer flew up it cracked me up and stayed at in Yorkville at the Four Seasons and then drove up to Richmond Hill Theater.
Right. That's a nice theater though in Richmond Hill. I've been there. It's nice soft seat theater there. Yeah.
And then so he loved it so much that he was like, I want to bring this show to LA. And I said, okay, well, it's all yours. Like, let me know if you need any of the logo or anything. I said, I wouldn't do it if I were you. But anyway,
that's funny.
He wanted to do it. And so we just went down there to do that one. So
Okay, so when you're doing this whole thing in Niagara and Richmond Hill or whatnot, like I'm guessing CBS has to sign off on this. Like, do you have to deal with all that? Like CBS says we own Rockstar INXS. Do you have to deal with that?
That's a very good question.
Thank you. I'm an award-winning podcaster, Suzie McNeil. Don't act so surprised.
That's great. I think, you know, in the business that I've been in this business for long enough that I know that like they don't care about a 350 seater in Richmond Hill. So I was like, you know, I'll apologize. I'll ask for forgiveness and not permission.
Right. That's a great move until they gouge your income or something like that.
They wouldn't. They don't. Because even the executive producer in LA didn't do the same show, that he didn't use the footage. And in my opinion, it wasn't as good of a show. No offense. But that was why. Because he's like deep in, you know, the legality and the community down there. But even he said that he didn't even think Amazon like knew that they owned it, because it's like deep in some relic, you know.
Right.
I don't even know if they know.
Surprise. So
now they
own a lot of stuff.
They listen to Toronto Mic'd, and now
Are you kidding me? Bezos is listening right now. Hello, Jeffy, baby. Nice to see. I'll see you at the next TMLX event. Okay, so let's get back to, so that's where you were reconnected with Tara, but did you keep in touch with Tara Sloan over the years?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because she's like you, and I already got this vibe. She's lovely.
Yes, and thank you. Well, we were roommates for a while after Rockstar. Like we were really in touch. So yeah.
And she was already a big deal because she was from Joy Drop.
Yes, yeah. She's had such a good career. Like just parlaying it into all the things that she's done. It's amazing.
For sure.
She's really smart.
You beat her ass on Rockstar INXS. Like you beat her because you're the last woman standing on that show.
I beat them all, baby. It's so weird. Like even looking back, I'm like, why was I? I don't know. And I was just filled with insecurity back then. So it's kind of bizarre. But there was something that, because in that show, you would, like America, well, the world actually would vote for you to keep you out of the bottom 3. And I was always in the bottom 3 because then on that show, INXS could rescue whoever they wanted. Because essentially they would have to tour with the person. And so they kept rescuing me. And it was only because of them that I was on it for that long.
But what is, I should know this, but where did you finish? Like you're the last woman standing, but what place did you come in?
Well, I don't know if I'm right here, but I feel like the ratings weren't like as good as they wanted. Like they were still pretty good, but he was used to Survivor ratings.
Right.
And I think that they made like one less episode. So they went from like elimination, to the show that I was eliminated. And then the next show, there were 3 men left and they just chose 1, right? Like they didn't get rid of the 2 and find the winner.
Who won this thing?
JD Fortune.
Oh, of course. JD Fortune. He's a Toronto guy, right? Is he a Toronto guy? Do you know?
He's lived here. I think he lives in Halifax. I think he's a Halifax guy.
Okay. Blessings to the Maritimes. Shout out to Classified. All right. Okay. On our way to line 49. So this gives you a lot of exposure. I don't know. Maybe you didn't get Survivor ratings, but give me a break. A lot of exposure for Suzie McNeil.
Yes. Yeah.
So how does it change your professional musical life, your personal life? Like how do things change for Suzie McNeil having like such a great result from this Rockstar INXS?
Well, it's pretty, there's definitely a trajectory there. And then there are the 15 minutes of fame. But other than that, it's not sort of set in stone. And that's sort of similar to any artist, right? Like even if you take like a famous person, you're only as big as your last hit. So that 15 minutes thing is real. So as soon as I was eliminated, like I would walk down the streets of LA and have people yell out of their cars, "Sweet Suzie McNeil."
Right.
But that goes away, just as fast. So then it becomes all about parlaying it and using that recognition to your benefit. So I have a really weird and pretty long story about my after Rockstar experience that and everyone had a different one. But so reality shows, and they've talked about this like with America's Next Top Model. I remember it back then, like when they don't care about you after you leave the show because they've made their money off of you. And I think we all thought that they would care about us. So, you know, then I was very confused. I didn't have like a lawyer or manager at the time. I didn't, you know, I still felt the same way that I felt going in, because our show, it was live to air. And so we were sequestered, and it was airing while we were in the mansion, and we didn't know how they were editing us and how we were being portrayed. So I didn't watch myself, you know, become that quote unquote rock star with everybody else. I still felt the same when I came out.
Right.
And so it was a lot of like navigating. I really didn't feel grounded for about a good year and a half, maybe. But I was called back down to LA. Like, I'll try and make it fast. It's a very interesting story, but I was called back down I came back to Canada, and everyone was acting weird around me, like my family and everything. They were so invested in it all. And then this guy named John Kolodner, who was an A&R guy for, you know, a bunch of big record labels, and he was responsible for Cher's, you know, comeback, and Aerosmith's comeback, and AC/DC, and like he's huge. His name, John Kolodner. And so he called me into his office, and I went in, and he was like, I'm making one more record, and then I'm quitting the music industry because it sucks. And I was like, okay. And so he got me Irving Azoff as a manager. If anyone knows him, he's like he's the umbrella to every artist almost, and he owns a piece of Ticketmaster, and he, you know, he's a movie producer. Like, he's one of the biggest managers in the world, if not the biggest. So I had a meeting with him. I'm in his office. They're like, does she have any money? No. Okay, well, we'll get her into the studio with this other guy. You know, he's going to make the record. We'll spend whatever it was, $200,000 on the record. Then we'll give it to Jason Flom at Virgin Records. Like, all this, it was a whirlwind. So they flew me down. I lived there for like a year and a half. They gave me a car, a trainer, a stipend, money. I made the record. We delivered it to them, and then they didn't do anything with it. What? I don't even know if they gave it to any record label. And I was so confused, because I was like, these people just like spent like $300,000 on me. But then I realized that, and I actually ran into a girl that the same thing happened to her with Irving and everything, and I think it's a tax write-off. Like, he like manages the Eagles, and that's one night of merch, right? Like, it's so weird. So then after,
but you're a victim of this. I've heard similar stories, like this game. Because you're like a Burlington. Are you from Burlington?
Mississauga.
Wow, even closer. Okay, but you're a 905 gal with dreams of making a career in music, and you get a big break on a reality show thanks to the great FOTM Karen Bliss, and you do well, and now you still have this. It's not naive, because it's pure and beautiful, like this artistic desire to create music that people can consume and enjoy. And you're in it you're in it for real, like the right reasons. And you got all these like business people, this shell game going on, and you're like just something in the shell or whatever. And they're all doing this tax. This is like back in the day when the producers would intentionally make crappy Canadian movies because of the tax benefit.
Right.
Like, so it's like, oh, they're using you as this pawn in this high stakes game, because like you said, the Eagles are selling more money in t-shirts in one night. Like, you're just a victim here.
Yeah.
Just another victim.
And they told me, you know, my moment to, you know, do a little tour, do whatever, was right after the show. And we had contracts where they weren't good contracts. So it was like, if we got a, you know, $100,000 record deal advance, like that's where the label pays you. The Mark Burnett company would take that 100,000, and then all they were entitled to give us was 20,000. So Irving wanted me to get out of that deal, which is fine and makes sense. But to do that, I had to go dark for a certain amount of time. So once I was allowed to, you know, do my thing, people didn't care half as much anymore.
How long did you have to go dark for?
Well, because I trusted him, it was a year.
And right at the height of your powers, You got to shut it down for a year.
And so then when I realized nothing was happening, I emailed him and said, all I have is this record. Like, that's all I've done. Can I have it, please? And so he said, yes, you can have it. If you make millions off it, we'll come find you. So then I had this record.
And they will, by the way.
Yeah. And I brought it to Canada because I knew that Canada was really behind that show. I knew people here. I had resources here. And then that's where my Canadian journey began.
And you were savvy enough to know, there's this CanCon law. Like they might have to play me.
Yeah. And then Canada, I was like, it went really well. Lots of radio play and hits on the radio and the Olympic song and like everything.
Okay, let's do a world, because I got to get to 49 because I love Canadian music. I like Canadian music. Okay, shout out to the Violent Femmes. Okay, but I'm going to dive deep into line 49. But on our way there, this will be a very quick little segment here because I could do all day on this. But I'm just going to play a little bit of a few songs and ask you about them, okay?
Okay.
You okay with that, Suzie McNeil? By the way, you enjoying yourself? You having a good time?
Yes.
Because I love your vibe.
Oh, I love yours.
Oh my God. This is the nicest thing anyone ever said to me. This is the nicest thing since Maureen Holloway was here a couple of weeks ago. And she told me John Moore said I was disturbingly good looking. I can't remember the exact quote, but I heard this and I'm like, are we talking about me? That was the nicest thing I'd ever heard until right now. Something, I got to go pull that quote.
That's great.
But this is now the nicest thing anyone ever said. Are you ready?
Ever. Yes.
This is it. A favorite trick up my sleeve. And I'm tired of trying to believe I'm seeing something that's just not there. This is hard when you always have somewhere to be, somewhere but never with me. But I've been a fool to even think you care. 'Cause you say hang up on yourself, don't you know? Can't you even tell tonight you'll be fine when I'm out with someone else? You're so high up on yourself.
Suzie, this is a banger. It's a
Thank
banger.
you.
Okay. But what I hear here is like, this is like, what is this? Canada's Kelly Clarkson?
Yeah, it was the time.
But okay, so at this point in your career, that's like your vibe, like your rock pop though. It's like a poppy rock.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Mix 99.9 would play this or whatnot. You correct me if I'm out to lunch on this.
Not anymore, but
not anymore.
No, yeah.
But at the time, maybe. Okay, because this song, so there's a Kelly Clarkson vibe, but it's catchy AF. I know that in your bio, you really tout Supergirl, but I'm here to tell you, this is a fucking banger. But you have a whole bunch of Canadian hits, right?
Well, yeah, this song was interesting too because the record label that I signed to, it was a more indie, but they were saying somehow we decided on this one, and I was like, I think I had decided, and I was like, I want to take it to radio, and they were like, nah, I don't think so, and that was the beginning of a career of no's from men.
Oh.
And I mean business no's. But anyway.
Well, it could only be business.
Yeah. So then I was like, no, I believe it. I'll pay for it. I remember saying that. I'm like, just please don't tell me no. I'll pay for it. And now I look back, it's like, why was the artist paying for the radio play? But anyway, we put it to radio, and then David Corey heard it. He had just signed on to Chum. And he was like, who is this? What is this song? We're putting it on heavy rotation, and bang, that's where it started.
So Chum is playing the heck out of this.
Yeah,
David Corey, by the way, fun fact, was part of the morning show with Marilyn Dennis. That
is
ended,
he still?
No, their last day was like two Fridays ago.
I thought she just left.
Well,
they all had to leave?
They all had to leave.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Like, I don't... after, I'll tell you some things. After this recording, I'll tell you
You all have to leave.
Right as soon as we're done, I'll tell you some things. But
Perfect.
Marilyn Dennis was retiring after 40 years at Chum as the morning show host. And it was a big, loud, hey, look at the celebrated retirement. But with her, David Corey had to go as well. So
perfect.
I think he's planning his next move
There
or
you
something
go.
like that. But that song is called Hung Up.
Okay.
And
yes.
I mean, there's so many of these Canadian radio rock hits. Did any of your songs, and I speak of ignorance here because I've only ever lived in one city. That's how boring I am, okay, Suzie McNeil? But were any of these songs big outside of Canada? I never know if it's just a Canadian
No,
thing.
it was just Canada. And that was enough for me.
It's enough for Slow and it's enough for you.
Yeah, and I was like always kind of, so when that stuff happened with Irving and I was sitting in my apartment alone in LA going, what the fuck
You know what you're saying? What the hell am I doing drinking in LA?
Yeah,
I'm 26.
At 26, I was 28, I think.
Okay, close enough.
So I went, okay, well, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. And that's what I've done ever since.
That's
like,
true.
Honestly.
Like even earlier when you were talking about this 100,000 advance, like I'm savvy enough. I've never been in the music industry, but people tell me, oh, that's just like a loan. Like
I know.
You got to, that's not like, hey, here's some money because you're on our label. That's a loan. So you can, everything, you go to dinner with whatever, that all gets billed back
and
to
that
you.
doesn't even happen anymore. Like it's just changed so
Game
much.
is rigged. But doing it yourself is the only way.
Yep. So, and then I enjoy doing it myself. So I would say like when young people ask me, how do I do it? All these things. I've always had that like business side to me too, and the fight and the create. Like I like the business, and if you don't, it's tricky.
And own your own shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're taking notes over here. You mentioned Olympics. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the 2010 Olympics were something special, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Sidney Crosby. So many memories. Let me just play a song and talk to you about it.
One minute's fading, 1 minute's past, but I've got this moment to make it all last. And I'm standing before you, taking my chance on everything. I never thought that I could be, 'cause you can do almost anything if you just believe. Just believe. It's like I'm falling through my own fears.
Suzie, you got pipes on you, girl. I'm telling you, you got a great voice.
Thank you.
But did you always had this voice, this texture?
Yeah. I mean, you form it as you go.
As you smoke your cigs?
Yeah, I tried.
You got to start at 4.
I never took to that.
Okay, imagine
if you
how
sing
feel.
enough, you get the damage. So that just works out.
You got to find that balance between dying, shout out to Ridley Funeral Home, and having a great, you got to find the balance. Okay, but this song, come on. This is the greatest Olympic song with the word believe in the title.
This song has a lot of history in the story too. So when John Claudner called me down to LA, he was like, this is the first song I want you to cut. So he put me in the studio with a producer named Marty Fredrickson, and he has a big significance in my whole life, even to this day and career. And we met for the first time that day, and we recorded this song. So this song was supposed to be the last song on that year's American Idol finale. And Clive Davis was like, I love it. And then some executive changed it. I think it might have been the Kelly Clarkson year, a moment like this or whatever. And so then there was
That was the first year.
I think.
She's the first winner of American Idol. I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't her year then.
It was before the TV went to HD.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
That's your demarcation line.
So, yeah. So anyway, then it was just this song hanging out, and this is what got everyone on board. So then when they weren't releasing it, I remember talking to my manager at the time, and Bell would have a gala called the Bell Gala at the time to raise funds. And I remember us going like, we have to find, because Bell was the premier sponsor of the 2010 Olympics.
Oh, I remember.
So we were like, we have to find the guy who's in charge of the Olympics at this Bell Gala and hand him a CD. So that was the plan. We
that
were
Scott Moore? Who
We
the
were
hell is that?
guerrilla styling it. His name's Loring Finney.
Okay.
And we found him and we gave him the CD and we went, we think this would be such a good theme song for the Olympics. And he went home and he listened to it and he said, I love it. He called his friend Dave Pierce, who's a composer in Calgary. We went into the to the Ottawa Art Center and we got the full Ottawa orchestra. He made an orchestra track behind it. We filmed the video there. And then this song came out as what it was through Bell. I got a phone. I got a free phone for years.
Wow.
And what
That's the true compensation for a Canadian
oh, it
rock
was so
star.
good. And so then what it was being used for was to raise awareness for the athletes. And we went on, like, we took it on tour. We did a press tour. And it was to raise funds leading up to the Olympics. And then I'm talking too much about it, but this part's funny.
No, I'm fascinated by this whole thing.
So then I'm like, great. Well, then it's hopefully going to become the theme song. And everyone thought it was, including Loring. And I was at a show in Halifax and it was like a songwriter round show. And we were backstage and Alan Frew was there. And I had these merch bracelets made. There's like those rubber ones and it said Believe on it. And Alan said, oh, I love that bracelet. Can I please, do you have any more? Because I'm writing the theme song for the 2010 Olympics and it's called Believe.
Yeah. Okay. So I have.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, because I thought it would be an interesting way to frame it, which we're doing this, but I play the song Believe from the 2010 Olympics and people don't hear that fucking Nikki Yanofsky song.
Yeah.
And it's a different Believe.
I know.
But it's not the same song. It's a different song.
It's a different song.
So Alan Frew with, I hope I got her name right, Nikki Yanofsky.
Yeah.
I think it's called I Believe.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
And that's the one that Bell Media shoves down our throats.
It wasn't Bell. Because Bell was my song.
I like to blame Bell for everything.
I know.
So please continue.
We'll
Or
just
Rogers.
blame David Corey for everything.
Right. Go on.
No.
So
So
it's not
Bell was my song, but the actual Olympic committee.
like the Canadian IOC, whatever the COC, whatever.
Yes. They said, well, we can't use her song because we don't want to bother getting the rights. Like I owned the master example. Like I owned the recording and it had already been played. It was on the radio at this point.
Right.
So they're like, we'll just get Alan and that other guy to write a song that's sort of like it. And I was like, are you kidding me?
It's about ownership.
It's all about ownership and money.
It's the same reason we lost BJ Birdie as the mascot for the Toronto Blue Jays, because Blue Jays did not own it. Kevin Shanahan owned it.
Right.
And then they went and made a different mascot that they owned. So they basically said, we don't own Believe by Suzie McNeil. We'll go make our own Believe.
Yeah.
And that'll be the song we jam down Canadians'
Isn't
throats.
that great? I was so mad.
I'm mad right now. I'm mad right now.
And I've always
And
laughed.
your song is better.
Right?
It's got more soul.
I've always laughed with
But I've always
Alan
hated
about
that song. Yeah,
Like,
Alan Frew, next time I'm in an elevator with Alan Frew, I'm going to kick him in the shins.
No, it wasn't even his fault. Like, that's not his fault. He was given the orders and he, they did a great job. But like that moment where he's like, could I have your Believe bracelet?
That's funny. So when you hear this news about, so Alan, you're working on the Olympics song called
And
Believe?
we were both so confused and it was actually funny. And then I remember he had a promo picture taken, a little while later and it's him like leaning on a desk and he has my bracelet.
This is unbelievable. This is like Shakespearean. Like this is like the Ides of March.
I know.
A2, Alan?
Yeah, there's more. It's never a dull moment.
Okay, so you got royally screwed because we were supposed to have your song jammed down our throat for 2 weeks.
I sang it at the closing ceremonies, so that was special.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like, was it the opening or closing when Gretzky was in a pickup truck with the torch? I can't remember but I feel like you could be following him in a all-terrain vehicle or something like that. Okay, so that's a great story about Believe. I'm sorry that you got screwed, but it's all about ownership, right? They'll squeeze, they need to squeeze every penny out of everything, and they can't have too many pennies going to poor Suzie McNeil in Mississauga.
I know, and I let the guy have it at the next Bell Gala. I was like, what the hell? He was like, we weren't using that one. We didn't own it. I was like, oh.
And then they have leverage, right? They'll be like, oh, you don't like it? Well, suddenly Chum FM is no longer playing Suzie McNeil.
I know.
See how it works? You get fucked either way.
That's why I'm happy to not be in that right now.
Oh my God. Another artist I just want to shout out because also has like your voice reminds me of hers, your presentation reminds me of her, and she got her start with Jeff Healey as well, is Amanda Marshall.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like Amanda Marshall got started with the Jeff Healey band.
Yep.
And then, well, there's a lot of...
Yep. She was big in that community then.
She was big in that community then. Okay.
She was like the success story at the time.
Right. Oh, she was a huge success story at the time. Right. Okay. So now that we've done the Believe, I'm just going to play one more song and ask you a question about it. Then we're going to get to the new album. Is that cool?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because I got a question about this. Okay.
I'm a sucker for this time of year.
I'm naturally curious.
The whole world's about that Christmas cheer. People shopping, lights are popping. It's almost here. There's a loving feeling in the air. Kids in hats and mittens everywhere. Sugar candy, spicy brandy. Saint Nick is here. And my favorite song are all of the carols we sang. And my favorite feeling is the happiness the holiday brings. I love the smell of the fireplace and the taste of your lips beneath the mistletoe. And my favorite color is snow, snow, snow. Yeah, snow, snow, snow. There's just something about those.
Finally, a
streets
song
of
about Toronto's Darren O'Brien and his great song Informer. This song is called Snow, Snow, Snow. Okay, Suzie,
Yeah.
I'm going to be naturally cynical or whatever, but I'm guessing that like every December, I don't know if you noticed this, but every December, stations like CHFI and others will, they have to play like Christmas music. Are you aware of this?
I am.
Like, they also have to comply with CanCon regulations.
Yes.
So if Chum plays a lot of Christmas, but not pure Christmas like CHFI. But if you're a Canadian station and you got to play Christmas songs, you can't just play Mariah Carey. She's not Canadian, okay? She doesn't satisfy these requirements. So it's good business decision to write and perform a Christmas song like this, Snow, Snow, Snow.
My biggest hit is a Christmas song. It's not this one.
Which one is it?
It's called This Is Christmas, and it gets played every year a ton. And I don't
Very
own it
smart.
anymore. I sold it. Oops.
Okay, well, you don't have to say oops, but did you get decent cabbage from that
I
sale?
did, but I spent it, so I feel like I should have
What'd you
just
spend it
kept
on?
I don't know. I feel like I owed taxes and stuff. It's always
what?
boring stuff.
I think the Beatles were writing about the tax man, okay? So, Snow, Snow, Snow. I just was going to ask you about the whole thought process. Is it like, hey, we got to pump out some Christmas music because it comes every December.
Yes, absolutely.
And every year, these songs, like, who's the Newfoundland singer? Oh, crap. Kim Stockwood. Like, Kim
Yes.
Stockwood's got a Marshmallow World, I think it is,
Yeah.
or something. And, every December, CHFI is going to put that in high rotation.
You would know the one they play every year. Very.
Well, I can go to YouTube because I'm going to turn to 49 in a second here. You're too easy to talk to. Be less charming. Okay? But I'm going to go to YouTube. So long
Yeah,
as...
get it. My
Okay,
mom
I'm
is
going
in
there
the
now.
video
Okay,
because
well, now I need to see it.
the record label wanted to do a video like 10 years later. And I was like, and I don't own any of it. I don't own the recording. And so I said, I'll do it. I'll be in it for free. And they sent me the treatment and it's like about a grandmother. And I was like, I'll do it if my whole family can be in it.
Okay, and this is your biggest hit?
Yeah, I would say because it still gets played a ton every year.
Okay, and this is from the good people at Nickelback, right? This is like
Yes,
a 604.
yeah.
Okay, hold on.
There's my stepdad. And then my mom.
That's your
comes in.
mom.
Yeah.
It's Christmas again and everybody's home.
Well, that's kind of neat.
Yeah,
It's sweet.
it's so good to have
Fire's
like
burning bright outside, the lights are glowing. We all gather around to celebrate and cheer. Let's raise up our glass to another year. It's that old familiar feeling when there's
Your mom's a good
magic
actress.
in the air.
Right?
It's the sleigh bells ringing, ding-a-ling. It's the choir singing, these three kings. Everybody's feeling happy. It's Santa's jolly ho ho ho, when the streets are filling up with snow. Oh, Christmas, this is Christmas to me.
Okay, so your mom is a great actress.
I did that one with Tog Salter. Do you remember? He worked with lights. And then my guitar player at the time, Zubin Thacker, and he works with Shawn Mendes. So
Shawn Mendes having a resurgence.
yeah.
I think Drake did that. Brought him back into the limelight, I think, is the story I heard. And of course, Lights worked with Gianco Mesci. Any Gianco Mesci stories? You go on any dates
No.
with Mesci? Okay.
No.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
And am I right? The 604, is
Forgot
that?
about that.
Yeah, you never forget. Josh Rayner? Does
Josh
his name-
Ramsey.
Ram, you know what?
I did 2 songs with him too.
Because he co-wrote a little ditty that you might have heard of, maybe. Call Me Maybe.
He was working on that at the same time he was working on mine, and he showed it to me. And I was like, this is okay.
You said, it's all right. I don't
Yeah.
want this. Give it to somebody else.
But no, he was working on it with her.
Oh, that's wild. Okay, it's just 604 triggers a bunch of memories. Josh has been in the basement. I'm sorry I fucked up his last name. That's terrible.
Oh, he has? Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's been down here. It was great.
He's a fun guy.
Yeah. And his band is called Marianas Trench.
Trench, yeah.
Yeah, I got to finish that sentence there. Okay, not to be confused with Silverstein, which, of course, is a Burlington band. I'm just
That I've
telling you.
never
'cause we
heard
talk,
of.
you know what? You're not alone, but they're a going concern because they got their own chapter in this book that I was reading about. Because you mentioned I mentioned Kelly Clarkson, but we could have thrown in like Canadians like Avril Lavigne. Like there's a certain style these early
Yeah.
hits. Okay, you ready to segue over? So we got a taste of like what Suzie McNeil was up to when after the Rockstar INXS, after she was put in the penalty box for an hour. Why don't you set the table here? Because I got some questions about these songs. I love CanCon. Okay, and you got some. Tell me about the new album, Suzie McNeil.
Yes. Okay. So after, like, I've done so many styles. Remember when I promised myself I
more
want to make a
projects?
living
Oh.
singing music.
Right.
I don't care how or where. So because of that trajectory, that could take me anywhere, and I followed them. Like I did, We Will Rock You. So that's music theater. We didn't even cover the country band and singing for Steven Tyler for 10 years.
Well, you can do that now. Like I'm not pushing you out of my basement. I enjoy this chat. So you could touch on some things before.
There's too much. No. Well, okay. So how did that? So
Before line 49, like you could hit some greatest hit stuff that I missed
right.
pre line 49.
Okay. Well,
and then we'll go into line 49.
It all ties in. Remember, I said that producer Marty Fredrickson. He's
Right.
been a big deal in my career. So because when we did that first record, so he wrote "Believe," we co-wrote "Hung Up," those songs, and we became really, really good friends. And then we kind of we made a partnership where we just always wanted to work together after that. And so I would go down. He lived in LA for a while, and then he moved to Nashville, and we'd go down and work together and write and hang out and stuff. And I always said, I think you should go like out front from behind the producer desk, and we should start a band. And then we'd always laugh about it over wine and stuff. And then we met this other couple in Nashville that we were like, that would be great to be in the band with them. And then I married a guitar player. I was like, let's bring him into the band. And we, then it became this like family band that we started. And we were all pretty serious about it. My husband and I bought a place in Nashville. And then we started to do the drill where you're making a record and you're trying to be a band. But it was different because it was we were all sort of older and more, established, Marty being the most established. So then
Right.
Steven Tyler, so Marty wrote Jaded by Aerosmith. He produced a bunch of Aerosmith albums, tons of different like big Carrie Underwood hits and,
Right.
tons of people. If you look him up, he's just got gold records throughout his whole house. And so Steven would call him a lot, to get advice or whatever. They're buddies. And one time he called Steven Tyler and he said, I have this show, but I can't they can't afford Aerosmith, and my keyboard player and I are in the outs. Like, do you know anyone who I could play it with? And Marty was like, actually, we have a band. Like, we could all come. And we did this like acoustic thing for Steven in Washington. And then he loved it because Steven loves the ladies, and there were 3 girls.
Really?
in
You
it.
don't say. You don't. Steven Tyler likes the ladies. I hadn't heard that before. He liked one of the Toxic Twins. He liked 2 things back in the day. He liked the ladies and he liked the drugs.
Yeah.
And I guess he's not on the drugs anymore.
He really does like those things.
Jeez. Okay. Please continue.
So then we just started, and he had never done anything with anyone other than Aerosmith. And, bless them, they've been together for over 50 years, but they're not the healthiest combo of humans. Like, they trigger each other and stuff. And so he was on cloud 9, like being in charge. And we went on like a good 8 years of touring with him after that. And that was his solo career. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we didn't gloss over this. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's not Aerosmith. It's Steven Tyler.
Yes.
And what was the band's name?
The Loving Mary Band.
The Loving Mary Band. Rolls off the tongue.
There was a woman who worked for BMI, which is a, songwriting organization. And her name was Mary Loving. And she would always email the band, and it came in as like, when the last name is first, like Loving and then comma Mary. And the bass player was like, that'd be a good name for our band.
The Loving Mary Band.
Yeah.
Okay. And Steven Tyler, how was he with you?
Amazing. And because, he is used to Aerosmith and they're all partners in it, he was kind of treating us like partners. Like, he probably overpaid us, but he would get like, how you have your sponsors. He was sponsored by, what's that company that has private jets? I forget, because they own like subways.
You're asking the wrong guy.
No, they own like the subway. Like, you'll see their name. They own like they make the cars. Anyway.
Oh, Bombardier.
Yes. So see, you got this.
I'm shocked. But yeah, okay. Well, yes, Bombardier. I am familiar with Bombardier.
So
yes.
he was sponsored by them, and then.
So you're telling me I have as a sponsor, for example, recyclemyelectronics.ca. Because Suzie, if you have old electronics, old devices, old cables, you go to your computer, go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, put in your postal code in Burlington there, and find out where you can drop it all off to be properly recycled so those chemicals do not end up in our landfill. So that's my sponsor, and Steven Tyler has Bombardier.
Yes. And good. Thank you for that tip, because I do have old electronics.
I got more tips where that came from.
So yeah, we'd fly in private jets all the time. We would we'd stay at the Ritz and the Four Seasons because he'd want us near him. Like,
not DoubleTree.
No more DoubleTree.
For the cookies.
He treated us so amazingly, and I knew when it was happening. Like, I need to never forget this. It was amazing.
And you did 8 years there with him?
Yeah, and then
that's amazing.
So then they got. I think we were supposed to get a Vegas residency, but then Aerosmith wanted to do it, as you would. So then he brought me along to do that with Aerosmith. So then I was singing backup for Aerosmith, and that was cool too.
Love in an elevator.
Oh yeah.
I will tell you, when Pump came out, I'm older than you are, Suzie, but do you remember when Pump came out?
I do.
Okay, well, I had it on cassette. That's the era we're in here. I was in love with Pump. I loved every song on that cassette. It was so good.
So good.
Yeah, and prior to that, I just knew like Dream On from like sports montages. Like Dream On was like this anthemic thing. And then I knew, I think they made a remake of... they made a remake of another 70s jam that was huge from Aerosmith, which I'll come back to later.
Walk This Way?
No, that one for sure. So Walk This Way with Run DMC, that was a big deal. But what's another big 70s jam that was kind of remade in the 90s?
Mama Kin? I don't know.
No, Mama Kin I liked from the Guns N' Roses cover. On Lies, Guns N' Roses Lies, there's a Mama Kin cover.
Oh.
Sweet Emotion. So Sweet Emotion, which is a 70s jam, was remade, and then Much Music started playing it. Yeah, because this sex phone worker was in the video, and then they revealed that she didn't look like she sounded. This was the crux of the video, but it got a lot of airplay on Much Music, the Sweet Emotion remake, I guess, the remaster, whatever the hell it was. But that's amazing that you have this Aerosmith connection.
Yeah.
One of the biggest American bands from the...
It's amazing. And I still play with him. He's retired. He had some vocal damage, but every year...
Was that what he's calling it?
I know. But every year, they do a fundraiser for his charity. So I get to sing and play with all these fun people every January.
That's amazing. Okay, so thank you for filling us in on the Loving Mary Band and your experience.
Oh yeah.
With
So
Steven Tyler.
now we segue into I've done all the styles of music, but
Right.
the style that I would say I love the most, like coming out of jazz college and stuff, I always loved soul music, which I think probably most people would be surprised by. But remember, you know, my roots were like soul and blues, and like that's where I started up. And I just did like the first record that I made that I burned the CDs myself kind of thing. It was called Jackrabbit, and it was soul. So I did, and then, you know, on Rockstar, I did that song Soul Life. I wrote like when we had to do an original song. So it's
Right.
always been my first kind of love. So after I had my son, I was like, okay, I think I'm done with the like chasing the carrot with the pop music, you know, radio play kind of thing. Like
Right.
it's not a graceful way to grow old in this industry, and I was just tired of the, you know, bureaucracy and stuff. So I was like, what do I want to do? And so I got like a 10-piece band together with horns and backup singers and stuff, and I did this like sort of launch show of my new sound. And I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to like sell this to corporate events. I want we redid like my old songs that you're playing into that kind of feel. Like I have a hit song that was on the radio a lot, Merry Go Round, and we made it like kind of like Al Green vibe. And so then we came out with this, and that's what I've been doing since 2018. And, you know, that kind of vibe and everything, like that snow song that you played, it's very sort of that feel as well. So I've been sticking to that. And so my dad, when he was alive, he kept bothering me, I say, to record an album of all Canadian songs. He wanted me to call it Canada Rocks. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then during COVID, the city of Brantford hired us for a Canada Day performance. And we had to film it at the Sanderson Center because that's what we were all doing at the time, is filming shows, and they were going to stream it on Canada Day. And to my husband, I was like, we need a Canadian song that we can kind of turn into a soul feel.
Right.
And he suggested Bob Cajun by the Tragically Hip. So we did it and, you know, debuted it at that show. It's still on YouTube. And then I really liked it. Like I just loved the vibe. So we recorded it as a single. That was 2 years ago. And then sadly, my dad passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. And, you know, when that happened, he left me a bit of money, and I was like, I'm going to use this money to make the record that he wanted me to make. Bob Cajun was sort of the launching to that. And I was like, we have one song, let's make 9 more. And we really made and released Line 49.
It's fascinating to me that the first track on Line 49, which I've got a few songs I want to cover with you. The first jam is Alan Frew's song "Someday," Glass Tiger Jam. Was that an honor of the fact that he maybe he wasn't responsible, but inadvertently screwed you over?
Him and I have become like closer. Like we were that made us fast friends. That experience.
Have you ever watched any footy with the man? You know, as he would call
No.
it, big footy fan.
No, but yeah, no, I love that song. And so going into this, it was kind of random where like I would make a list of Canadian songs, and then what I would do so I didn't say this, but for anyone who doesn't know, the whole album is Canadian songs, but they're done in a soul style. So that was the project. And so to try and like figure out what kind of vibe I would want to turn the songs into, I kind of made this list, and then I would like think of a song that was a vibe. So I'll use the song Blinding Lights as an example, where I thought of the song Land of a Thousand Dances. Okay, so this is Blinding Lights.
Yeah, I was trying to call. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love, baby. Oh, I'm going through a just a touch, baby. Since it is cold and empty, no one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're gone. Oh, and I said, ooh, I'm about to buy the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. Oh, and I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I trust.
So yeah, when I was thinking of that one, I thought of Land of a Thousand Dances. So that's the na 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 na.
Listen, I had the
na, 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 na.
1985 wrestling album on cassette, and I know Land of a Thousand Dances.
Oh.
It was that's where I
is
often
not
say on
what-
the show, I often say, stop the music, stop the rock and roll. That's literally from that track.
That
Okay,
is not
but
what
it's-
I was expecting you
No,
to say.
I know. That's how I know Land of a Thousand Dances. Great song.
So yeah, so I would like legit example put on Land of a Thousand Dances, and then I'd try to sing Blinding Lights over it, and so that's
interesting.
where it would go. Like Never Surrender by Corey Hart. That one I was trying to make it like
Well, hold on. You're picking all the songs
Oh,
I
fine.
gravitated towards.
oh
Like I only pulled 3, and you named the 2.
Just a little more time is all we're asking for. Well, just a little more time could open the closing doors. Just a little uncertainty can bring it down. And nobody wants to know you now. And nobody wants to show you how. So if you're lost and on your own, you can never surrender. And if your path won't lead you home, you can never surrender. And when the night is cold and dark, you can say you can see light. 'Cause no one can take away your right to fight and to never surrender.
Do tell, though, how I know you're telling us about Never Surrender, but how did you choose that song?
I don't know. Like I think it was just
Who
on-
does? And I'll get them on the podcast.
I think I
Like, did you
I
own
thought
Boy in the? Because you're only a few years younger than me. So did you own Boy in the Box on
Oh
cassette
yeah,
or
of
something?
course, yeah. And I just randomly thought of Corey Hart, but then I was listening. One of my favorite soul songs is that Solomon Burke song, "Cry to Me When You're Weary, Feeling All Alone, and Nobody." It was on Dirty Dancing. Oh, don't you feel like crying, babe? Don't you feel like crying? Oh, here I am, honey. Come on and cry to me. Anyway.
Oh,
so
I love your voice.
Oh, well, that
Move
good.
move
I mean,
over, Sass Jordan.
But I mean, isn't that good? I shouldn't quit my day job.
Is Sass Jordan on that sound? There's a different monster soundtrack that Sass Jordan is on. I feel like Sass Jordan and Joe Cocker are on a big soundtrack, but it might not be Dirty Dancing. It might
Right. No, I
be
don't think it
something
is.
else.
I don't
Okay,
think
I
it
will
is.
Google that while you keep telling me about Corey Hart's Never Surrender.
Well, then I just sang that over it and it worked. And in the end of this record, I had booked a record release date at the Westdale Theater months before, and the record wasn't even close to being done. And
The Bodyguard is the soundtrack that Sass Jordan is on.
Oh, I
Please.
didn't know that.
There you go.
Love it.
I'm here to educate you. Wait till I blow
Good
your
for
mind
her.
later about Boy
So
in
sh-
the Box.
So she must be rich then.
You know what? You'd think so, because 45 million copies of
Right?
that album were sold. So
Yeah.
I think definitely when she was in the basement, Sass Jordan, I definitely asked her to
If she's
produce
rich?
her tax receipts. I need to know. I don't know.
The question is she richer than the old Spoons keyboard player? That's what I want to know.
Rob Bruce. Well, Rob Bruce. I will ask Rob. I'll pull this clip because Rob comes over once a month for toast. And
So
those
say,
who
who
know
do you think is richer, you or Sass Jordan? And see what he says.
Oh, you just asked him, so I'm going to pull that clip.
No. It's like my son. What do you like better, your friend or your sunglasses? Like it's so.
Would you rather? Would you rather lose your sunglasses or lose your friend?
For real. He asked me that the other day.
And your boy's 8?
Yeah, he's a genius. What?
Is he? Because I want to talk to him now. I have questions about his mom. I would love to have just a little half an hour deep dive with your son.
He's not interested in music because both his parents are working musicians. And at my album release, there's a lot of these new shows I'm doing at theaters. There's I do a behind the music in between the songs. My keyboard player plays and I go like little tidbits, right?
I love this.
Right?
Because that's what I'm into.
Yeah, me too. And I chat with the theater.
How the cake gets baked.
Totally. And example, I could tell you all about that song.
Well,
Corey
do
Hart's
it because
mom
you can tell me about Never Surrender, but first, before you do that.
Yeah.
Who's the boy in the box?
Okay. I didn't get that far.
Okay.
Maybe him.
Do you want me to tell you who the boy in the box is?
It might be him, no?
No.
Okay. Who? Who?
Steve Anthony. Do you know the name Steve Anthony?
Yeah, of course I do.
He was a radio DJ at Shom FM in Montreal.
He was a VJ too.
Of course, he was. Of course. You telling me?
Sorry. We didn't
I'm
get
offended there. Yeah. It doesn't matter about the VJ part. Doesn't matter. What matters is Steve Anthony is the boy in the box. But tell me what you can about Never Surrender, because I was a big fan of this song and this album, Boy in the Box.
So Corey Hart knew Steve Anthony well enough to call him a boy, is what you're telling me.
Absolutely. They're both Montreal, anything goes. You know this. You know this.
Oh, I don't know. There's nothing exciting about it.
Oh, okay.
He wrote it. His mom was like,
stop teasing
He's
me.
an A type and he's a hard worker. That's what he, and then Winston Churchill did a speech in World War II about not surrendering. And that's what
we will never surrender.
But Building of Mysteries on here, and that, I don't, there's a little, you don't have to play it, but there's a cool little tidbit.
Well, I only have one more song I'm going to play, but Sarah McLachlan's Building a Mystery. What is the tidbit you'd like to share?
I like that it was the first song ever played in public on the first iPod when Steve Jobs presented it to the world.
That is a fun fact.
Yeah.
So he's doing an Apple convention thing, and he's like, and he plays Building a Mystery. Mm-hmm. I love that fun fact. Okay, now I need that. So what's your fun fact about Someday by Glass Tiger?
They wrote this song and what's the other hit?
The other hit with
Don't
Brian.
Forget Me when
Brian Adams is on the chorus.
Yeah, so they wrote those. Forget me when
monster hit. Yeah.
So Glass Tiger wrote those two songs with Jim Valance.
Speaking of Brian Adams, that's how you get Brian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The first couple hours that they met, they wrote those two songs, and
I love it. No, you're in the right place, Suzie. I'm not even recording this. I just wanted to talk to you. Just kidding. One more. Okay, now I'm going through the track list, and then I have a great question from Greg, and I want you to know right now that I have loved this chat. I don't say that.
Who's Greg?
Just a guy who saw you were coming on Toronto Mike.
Oh, okay. Hi, Greg. Thanks.
We'll get to Greg in a moment. Greg can wait. Okay, Greg can wait. Blinding Lights is arguably, because there's different ways to spin all this stuff, as you know, but you can make an argument that Blinding Lights by The Weeknd is the biggest single in the history of the world.
I think it is.
So, do you have a fun fact for me about Blinding Lights?
Just that it's one of the most successful songs in history.
Boo,
but that's pretty cool. A Canadian.
Yeah, cool. All right, here's a guy who's been on Toronto Mike, Tom Cochran. He was with Red Ryder in the big song White Hot. Mm-hmm. What can you tell me about White Hot?
He wrote that about this poet, and I forget the poet's name. I'm sorry. Who?
Dylan Thomas.
No.
Okay.
And it's no one
William
that you'd recognize.
Yates. Okay.
And he gave up his amazing literary career to go run guns in Africa.
Oh, okay. You are bringing the heat today. Mm-hmm. My goodness. I'm saving this song. I'm going in order, but this is an original by Suzie McNeil, which is going to play us out here, okay? Oh my God, I love Joni Mitchell's Both Sides.
I know.
So I love that song.
23 when she wrote that. Come on. And she was on a plane. She wrote it by herself, right? I wrote all the writers behind the songs, and Blinding Lights has 5. The one name you write next to Both Sides now is Mitchell. That's it.
Right.
And it is what you think. It's like she looked at the clouds from above instead of below, and perspective.
Well, you should sing it. No one listens to the Suzie McNeil episode to hear me sing on the mic. I can tell you right now. Okay, I love that. Joni Mitchell, a previous guest named Liz Braun, who wrote for the Toronto Sun for 100 years, says Joni Mitchell's not a nice person. She said that.
And to that, I would say, would you be if you were her?
Yes, I would.
I don't know.
And speaking of Saskatchewan, I'm going to have a chat later today with Wide Mouth Mason, and they're from Saskatoon.
Yes.
So running back to Saskatoon. Okay, we're almost done this track list of great Canadian songs that you cover wonderfully, and we've heard a couple, and I'm going to play the original at the end. But you can give me a fun fact about Bob Cajun. What a huge hip. You can see I've got my Road Apples vinyl right here. Mm-hmm. What a huge hip song that is.
He didn't necessarily want to write it about the town Bob Cajun. It was more of the conundrum between Toronto and the nature of outside Toronto. But he needed a syllabic word that would rhyme with constellation.
Reveal themselves one star at a time. I've been told earlier this week that I break into hip songs if you trigger it with the right words, which you just did. Okay, so we already talked about Never Surrender. You didn't really have a fun fact about it, though. Oh, you did. It was about William. It was about Winston Churchill. Yeah. Okay. April Wine. Miles Goodwin is also an FOTM, friend of Toronto Mike, and he passed away. But good Maritimer, and of course their big cover, "You Could Have Been a Lady," was like one of their first monster hits in this country. What can you tell me about "You Could Have Been a Lady"? The
fun fact for me is I thought that they wrote it, and I didn't know it was a cover until after I recorded it, and I was like, damn it. But Hot Chocolate, which we all know them too, but they, released it first, but April Wine made it a really big hit. And then I changed the lyrics because it seemed very like Me Too, like rapey to me. So I kind of smoothed it out and made it more about a woman like overcoming what people think of her. But when I researched it, it was about the writer was waiting to go on a date with this woman and she never showed up because she was a hooker. So I don't know.
We've become far more positive of sex workers than we were back then.
Have we?
I have.
Okay.
I'm working on an episode with a couple of people from Muse Massage about sex workers and sex worker rights, and I'm all in on sex workers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
love them all. Okay. Alanis Morissette from the Glebe area of Ottawa. What can you tell me about Hand in My Pocket?
I forgot to research that one, and it was at the end of the show. I just was like, thank you very much, everybody.
Well, it's not the end of this show because I want to play your original song, if you don't mind, just a little bit, because this is the one song on this new album, which people can get right now, and they should. If you have any love of this great country, Canada, and great music, you should get a Line 49. And of course, that's a good title for Line 49. Was this album, I know your dad was a big inspiration, of course, but what about like the Donald Trump 51st state rhetoric? Does that at all, do you get a sense of like patriotism? Like, I'm going to shout out the Canadian classics.
No, I kind of didn't want it to be that because I didn't want it to be political. Although
Bryan Adams just put out a song called 51st State.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, like on Canada Day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I thought, it's good timing. I didn't totally want to get sort of wrapped up in that on socials or anything, and nobody has. I think enough time went by, but I was already thinking about it before all that. And enough
time went by. Let's check his Truth Social post today. Like, he still brings it up.
He does.
He hasn't dropped that ball. Every time anything is like, it should be the 51st date. And that damn... what's the name of the guy? Pete Hoekstra? Is that his name? The ambassador from the United States ambassador to Canada. Export that fucker. Like, this guy's committing treason. Okay, I'm all wired up here.
I don't even know. I've blocked a bit of it.
I'm going to play some of Soul Life because that's an original by Suzie McNeil on her way out, and then I'll ask the Greg question, okay?
Yeah.
Soul Life. This is a Suzie McNeil original.
I wrote it on Rockstar. So because of the 20th anniversary, it's on YouTube, that song, but because of the 20th anniversary, I decided to finally record it and include it. But now that I say this, you'll never unhear it. The producer and I, because I wrote it 20 years ago and it wasn't even, I don't even think it's that good. Oops. Am I not supposed to say that?
You should be honest with me.
It was more of a nostalgia thing. But anyway, when we were recording it, the producer's like, it reminds us of the what is it? Eddie Murphy movie Coming to America. And you know how they go, just let
Soul
your
Glow.
soul
Yeah.
glow.
That's the guy from ER. Okay. Did you ever see ER? Okay. Anyway.
No,
Benton. Eric LaSalle is the actor's name. Soul Glow. Every time I just revisited this series of my wife, ER, because I watched it in the 90s and I just watched it again because I liked the pit and it made me think about it, whatever. Anyway, so every night I watched an episode of ER, and I'm telling you, every time Peter Benton comes on the screen, I say Soul Glow.
Yeah. And so we were laughing every time we would work on this song. Just let your soul glow.
100%, and I'll never unhear it. So.
I know. So I'm sorry to everyone.
That's funny.
I know. It's so good.
By the way, you've been fact-checked on the live stream at live.torontomike.com. Jeremy Hopkin. Jeremy, it was good to see you last night. I was downtown for a walking tour. Cam Gordon and Jeremy Hopkin did this thing where they talk about Sam the Record Man and HMV and the world's biggest bookstore. These are all three no longer there. Anyway, it was a very interesting hour. I met some interesting people. So hello to Jeremy. Jeremy's in the basement Monday, by the way. So Jeremy says, White Hot was inspired by the life of the controversial 19th century French poet Arthur Rimbaud. So that's the name you're looking for. Arthur Rimbaud. Okay, he's got your facts checked right there.
We're live?
Well, we're kind of live. Like, podcasts can't be live.
Okay.
Because you need to have an audio file that you link to, and you can't link to it. It's like you can't link to an audio file that's still baking if you were still recording.
Right.
But I do live stream the recording at live.torontomike.com.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Jeremy's there watching the show because Suzie fucking McNeil's in the basement, and he's very excited, as we all are. So I want to tell people you're at the Festival of Friends in Hamilton, Ontario. You're going to the Hammer August 1st.
Yes.
A short drive for you from Burlington.
Yes.
Yeah. Just shouting out the Hammer.
Then we have another show, this show in, I think at the Regent Theatre in September on the 19th. But I don't know. Because I remember after the album release, I wiped my hands of all upcoming responsibilities.
Well, this didn't make Chloe's email to me. Doesn't include this event. But what's the website people should go to find out how they can see this big personality, Suzie McNeil?
So the other thing is my website went down because my dad owned the domain name, and how do I get it back?
You need to have control of the email address it's tied to. Everything's that email address.
I know, and I was on the phone with them. They're like, what's the account number? I'm like, I don't know. He's dead.
Yeah, that's one of those unfortunate things you have to deal with. It's tough enough to mourn the loss of your dad, and then you got to deal with website bullshit. But maybe on social media.
Yes. So I'm on all of that. Yeah.
Find Suzie. I'm going to tag you in all these things.
The Suzie McNeil, because Suzie McNeil is taken.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
That's Instagram.
And is your name Suzanne?
No, it's Susan. Well,
okay,
Susan. Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking, if you're Suzanne, I'm thinking, named after the Leonard Cohen song.
Isn't Susan the new Karen too? So.
Oh, is it? Because I haven't got that memo yet. I'll tell you when it gets to me, the memo here. Okay, so we're out of here. You've been amazing. But the question from Greg is, she sang the Marineland song and was pretty quick to ask to no longer be associated with that place when the movie came out. Props. Okay, so did you sing the Marineland song?
I did.
Okay, but obviously you didn't, you're too young to have sang the original version. Like, you just remade it?
Yeah, there are a couple singers that would, every so often Marineland would want a new commercial. So they had just come out with the Sky Screamer ride and the Beluga habitat when I sang it. But I was super young. I got paid $500 for both of them, and I thought that was a big paycheck. Right. And yeah, the song had already been written. There was no residuals of any sort. Although I did get a tour after, like I asked for one. I'm like, I sang a commercial. Get me in for free, right? And I was a little like when they were showing me where the dolphins would live, you know, and I was like, well, where do they go in the winter? And they're like, here. And it was like the size of this room, a
giant
little
fishbowl.
Yeah. So I was like, this feels weird. So ultimately, and then when, you know, the whistle was blown, I had people coming at me a little bit because my commercials were still getting aired at that point.
Right.
So I released something through my publicist and we were like, we don't care. And then Marineland sent me a cease and desist. Like it was like I couldn't win on any.
Because they're like, it's all about ownership again. They're like, we own this. You got your $500.
I know.
We own this.
They were like, stop talking about me. But then the guy who was the whistleblower wanted me to go on all these interviews. And I was like, I don't honestly know enough. Like, unless I'm going to like dedicate my life to this, I don't feel like I can sit with you properly.
Well, Greg is giving, you said properly at the end there, and Greg was giving you props.
Thank you, Greg.
And yeah, good on you for making the statement. You know, you're young, you got $500. You'd sing anything, right?
I really would have.
You'd do a duet with P. Diddy if you could get $500 out of that deal. Bueno.
$500. What do you need?
Wow. Okay. I hope you didn't spend all that money. You invested it in Apple stock or something like that. Okay. That was a fun fact you dropped on me about building a mystery.
Right?
Yeah. The first song he played to demo it in front of when they launched the iPod. Because now when I think of iPod, I always think of Feist and 1, 2, 3, 4 because it was in the ads.
Yeah, that was huge.
It was huge. Okay.
That's who we're opening for at Festival of Friends. So come on, see us and Feist.
That's a wild coincidence that I accidentally said the word Feist on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
You're bearing the lead here. Feist, Leslie Feist. Okay. I'm seeing Broken Social Scene this summer, but Feist will not be there, I don't think. We'll see. I don't
they're
think
still together.
Well, that's a collective, you know. So the main guys, Kevin Drew and Brendan Canning, they just see who's available.
I remember when I was really young, I was friends with Kevin Drew, and that was that community. And then he was going to music management college, and we were all like, those who can't do teach. And look at him now. Although I don't know who's headlining it. Like I assumed it was going to be headlined by Broken Social Scene, but somebody told me Metric is the headliner. Where?
I don't know if it's at well, they're now calling it RBC Amphitheater, but I
love Metric.
So Metric's on the bill, and of course my friends in Stars are on the bill. I'm a big Stars head.
I remember all of them.
Well, that was a big scene here, and you're a big scene. I just want you to say, I got to say, I dug your vibe from the first minute I met you. I forgive you fully and completely. Shout out to the Tragic Lip. I forgive you for ghosting me last week, because for a moment I was pissed at you.
I'm sure you were. I was pissed at me.
What do you mean she's in Burlington? Except I was told you were in Hamilton, which made me even angrier.
Well, I was at the time.
Oh, you were in Hamilton. Okay.
I know. Don't worry. I shamed myself all the way into Sunday.
And you're here now, and you're going to take a photo with me by the Toronto Tree, and I'm going to get you your palma pasta lasagna. But I want to say, during that recording, I got a phone call. It was Nick INXS, who's going to be here tomorrow. And I just want to make sure people know that Nick INXS is a proud sponsor of this show, and his podcast, Building Toronto Skyline, is excellent. And he does a show with me called Mike and Nick. And we're going to chat on Toronto Mike tomorrow. So Nick INXS, much love to you. Much love to Suzie McNeil.
Thank you, Mike.
That's you.
Thank you.
What's this tattoo of?
A dragon, but it's run into itself and become a blob. Thank you.
How old is it?
20-year-old.
Is that what I don't have any ink, so I don't know how it ages. But
well, this one's too intricate, and they didn't warn me of that. I was like, thanks a lot.
You should have got Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Remember that album? And it sounds like we're leaving like them.
You know, Dave Thomas is an FOTM. Okay.
Take off, eh?
And Geddy Lee. Take off to the great white north. And that brings us to the end of our 1930th show. Go to TorontoMike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. Much love to all who made this possible. That is Great Lakes Brewery, You got your beer. Palma Pasta. I've got your lasagna in the freezer. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Go to Christie Pitts. It's free. It's great value. It's great fun. That book is for you. Nick Iones, he's here tomorrow. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. And of course, Ridley Funeral Home. That measuring tape is yours, Suzie McNeil. See you all tomorrow. I got Nick Iones and Wide Mouth Mason from Saskatoon. You did it, Suzie.
Well,
you
that
did
was
it.
amazing.
You did it.